You and I both share the same temptation, which is to think that if I just provide a house, if I provide the food, if I'm the provider, I've done all that I have to do. That's not enough. God wants you and I, especially with our sons, to be the template that our boys shape their manhood around. Those boys can't understand what it is to be a man if the man in their life is not there. So you got to be there. You got to spend time with these kids. You got to teach them. Now, some of you are like, well, are you going to give me like 3-point outlines to share with these kids? No, what do we know? That more of life is caught than taught. 90% of being a dad is being there. So if you can be there, that's great. And listen, I want you to take seriously the shaping of your children, moms and dads, the shaping of their experiences that they're going to have later on in life. This past Friday night, I took my son to a concert. It's by a band called Kings of Leon. I kind of like them. And so I took him to his first rock concert. I did this because I like the music, but also because I wanted my kid's first concert experience to be on my hip. I wanted to define everything that was going on around us. When the drunk guy next to him fell over, this actually happened, he fell over into the row in front of us and just plowed out this guy's girlfriend, and I thought there was going to be a fight in front of us. I wanted to be able to turn to Ben and say, hey, Ben, this is not how we act at concerts. This is not what you and I do. What they're doing is bad choices. The way that they're acting is not right. And some of you might think, well, why'd you take him? No, I took him to a concert because I guess that somewhere down the line, Ben's going to go to one on his own. I want him to be able to go back to the time that he went with me, and we shaped his thinking on those things together. You with me? I mean, I think there's big, there's big events in kids' lives too. If you have kids that are under the age of 12, someday you need to be the one that tells them about sex. Don't wait for health class or some cable show to be the thing that explains it to them. Some of the kids are like, yeah, I see you, honey. That's okay. I'm not going to talk about it that much. Relax. There's a little girl over here going like, oh my gosh. Sweetie. But when your time comes, I hope your mom takes you away and tells you about it herself. Here's the deal. Remember the children of Israel? When they were going through the Exodus, they were leaving Egypt, they crossed the Red Sea and they put up this big mountain of stones. It was a monument to remind them. They made a big deal out of a big deal. And I think there comes times in our lives where, as parents, we get to go and shape our kids' understanding about their sexuality. We get to go and shape our kids' understanding about adult life, about choosing a mate and having standards in that department. There are big deal moments in the raising of our kids. And my encouragement to you is that whatever your family's resources allow, make a big deal out of those things. Make a memory out of those things. When it came time for me to talk to my boys, I took them away for the weekend to Orlando. We went on all the rides, did all the fun stuff, and then we spent a half an hour over pizza, both of them, talking about the birds and the bees. They got done hearing that, and they were like, ew, gross. And I was like, cool. But at least they heard it from me, and now when they're, hopefully in relationships with the girls that are going to be in their lives, they'll remember back to that weekend in Orlando and to the things that I said, and it'll be a monument in their lives as to how they live their lives. Another thing, real quick, on teaching, don't just give away stuff for free. You're like, what do you mean? So many of us as parents are guilty of spoiling our kids. We're guilty of giving them things without expecting anything in return. Understand that your kids, and not all the kids are going to get mad at me, relax. But understand that your kids' freedoms and the blessings that you give them, they could be and should be, in my opinion, tied to things that they do to show responsibility. So, with some kids, if we want to challenge them, for instance, in the area of dating, my personal beliefs in dating is that it's a waste of time through most of middle school and high school. I'm just telling you, I'm not married. And some of you are married to your high school sweethearts. I'm so proud and happy for you. I'm not. Matter of fact, all the girls I dated in high school, I'd love to be able to erase that from my memory. How's that? All right? So I don't buy into that whole thing, and I'd love for my kid to make it all the way through high school never dating anybody. I just think it's a waste of time. I'm not a prude. I'm not weird, okay? We're not going to hole up in some compound somewhere. Everybody relax. But that's just my personal opinion. Now, if I want my kid to do that, I can make it a rule. I could, as a father, say, you may not date until you're 18. That's completely... I suppose it's possible, but it's going to cause friction. Instead of making that rule, I say, hey, Ben, you want a nice guitar, don't you? Now, I could just give him the guitar for free. In fact, my father's love for my son would obviously lead me to just want to say, Ben, I love you, here's your guitar. But my father's wisdom says, hey, Ben, you want the Gibson Les Paul? Stay away from women. And in fact, on his beginning of his 6th grade year, I turned to Ben and I said, hey, Ben, look, all these kids go out during middle school and it's all date this, date that, hold hands, drama and all that stuff. You're going to have all that opportunity, but I'll tell you what. And originally it was a Xbox 360. Or no, it was a PS3. I said, if you can get all the way through 8th grade having not dated a girl, I'll give you a PS3. He's picked up a guitar, so now I have to give him the guitar. But I'm more than happy to give my kid a guitar if it spares me the drama of the 7th grade breakup. Are you with me? Yeah, so take the things that you give your kids and listen, some of us think that it's an American rite of passage for our kids to get a car at 16. Not in my house. You want a car? Get a job. Pay for the insurance. You want to keep the car? You better be nice to me at the house, pal, because that's my car. Are you with me? I don't mean to be all like George Jefferson up here, but I think we got to get smarter when it comes to parenting our kids. Teach them. Use our opportunities to train them, to love them, to provide for them. Sometimes you're going to have to raise your voice. I'm not talking about in a negative, emotional way, but remember it says in Ephesians chapter 4 to be angry and do not sin. The imperative there is that anger it's an imperative. Do be angry. Go ahead. Anger is a valid and useful emotion from time to time. It's a great teacher. Just don't be angry and sin. So many of us as parents, we allow anger to make us vindictive in our punishments. It should never do that. But we should be open to allowing anger to really open our kids' eyes. Yesterday, one of my sons was mowing the backyard. And what is it with kids and mowing? It's just follow the wheels. Where the wheels were last, put the mower, right? You just kind of follow it. It's just, short grass, long grass. Don't cut the short grass, cut the long grass. It's just easy to me, right? Now, I've been mowing the lawn for a long time, so maybe I'm ahead of the curve. But yesterday, I'm teaching my son to mow, and I'm like, okay, just follow along. And to mow my backyard, 20 minutes, something like that, okay? So he's mowing along. He's like, yeah, okay, I got it. And he does the first couple circles around the yard, and he's just going to get smaller and smaller, and it's going to be done. But I go back into the garage, I'm messing around with some sprinklers that were broken, and he comes back in like 5 minutes. Wow. Man, that was some hard work out there. I'm like, no way. Come on, come here. So we go to the backyard, and of course, he's done, he's kind of done this method of mowing, right? Okay, there's some grass there, and I'll hit the. So I'm like, son, we can't have these little armpit hair tufts of grass everywhere, it just doesn't look good. It's not, and he's like, so he starts giving me attitude, he starts mowing again. I'm like trying to be encouraging, man, you just got a little bit more, keep going, buddy, you're almost there. But he's still drooping the shoulders and looking back at me, And finally, I was like, all right, he's not getting me. So I came up to him. Now, granted, the lawnmower was still running, so I had to talk over the lawnmower. But what I said was pretty loud. I'm going to just be honest with you. And I came up to him, I grabbed him by the shoulders while he was holding the lawnmower, and I looked him right in the eye, and I said, do you want to be a man? Now, what self-respecting boy would say, no? He said, yes. I said, well, do you understand that when a man starts a job, he finishes the job? Yes. Do you understand that when a man does a job, he does a job to the specifications that the job is meant to be done in? Yes? I said, well, listen, man, you got like 15 more minutes of mowing. It was 12:30. That's why I didn't want to do it. I understand. It was really hot yesterday. He's out there under the sun. He's just like, oh, let me go inside. Game Boy, Game Boy, Game Boy, and I'm like, no, buddy, just stay with it. Finish the job. And I told him in a passionate manner. No, he got back to doing it, and indeed, he finished the job. Was he happy? No, I'm not in charge of my kid being happy. Okay? And again, I hope you hear me when I say that I love my children, but their happiness is their choice. My responsibility is to raise my kids in the way that they should go. I want my boy to understand that when he has his jobs later in life, he's got to do them to the full, or he risks losing it.